Together's research found that office space would be a good investment over the next 5 years, according to 82% of professionals. Would you agree with that outlook?
I think the dynamics of the office market, if you've got the right product, and it has to be the right product, then yeah, people still want to go in the office. People want to go back to the office again.
Yeah.
But ultimately, certainly for us, it's all about, are the financials correct for it?
And I guess if you're bringing forward a scheme that's a development of new offices, it's that original purchase price that's absolutely key, isn't it?
With the cost of construction at the moment, the difficulty sits in exactly that, because obviously the land and the cost to build is so high at the moment that you could actually argue that the better opportunity is actually buying existing bricks and mortar. Because if you think of when you can't build them for what you may pay for them, maybe it makes sense to buy an existing development and then refurbish it to a very high standard.
And we're seeing a lot of that in Together at the moment, where we hear the phrase a lot that you couldn't build it for that.
Correct. Yeah.
There's so many buildings on the market, that are second-hand buildings that require some capital expenditure. But that building nowadays would cost you an absolute fortune to purchase, but they're available at pretty low values, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, I think the finances don't stick up for, don't stand, well for some people in terms of getting the finance. So, and those that have had mortgages on them, maybe the new rates not suiting them. So there are definitely some opportunities. And also some of the traditional owners, frankly, are getting older. So what we're now seeing is that there are sellers that have owned this stuff for many years, and now they're going, okay, let's just move it on. And so our job now is to try and find those opportunities and see what deals can be done.
So what are the main opportunities and trends that you see in the office market, and what do you think is driving them?
Certainly what we see and what we try and do ourselves is put in a lot more that they weren't expecting or didn't even know that they need. So, it sort of goes without saying that you need to have very good, high quality communal areas. Those breakout spaces, those meeting rooms, there's a lot of choice out there. So yours have to be good. Yours have to be really, really good.
I think I see that a lot in the market, and we see it at Together as well, that flight to quality and,
Correct.
What people call that best in class. Yeah. I mean, what do you see that is that you need to provide, to get to that level?
We've always sort of set our stall out of trying to sort of bridge that gap between when you leave your house and then traditionally you go to your office and it's like doof in quality. We spend half your life there. So, we try and design stuff which sort of slightly blurs that feel between an office or actually what your home's like or a luxury apartment. So we're trying to put those features in that they weren't expecting. Everything from German kitchens, much nicer carpets, oak floors.
Yeah.
And not painting them necessarily white, wallpapers, all types of stuff that they would not generally expect.
So Together's research showed that 40% of property professionals are seeing a growing trend in co-working spaces, with office refurbishments.
I think that most of the new developments being done will have an element of co-working space. It's a fine balance. There's a lot of places have opened up with co-working. Generally financially, it doesn't stack up if you're just co-working, because you just can't rely on the model to be underwritten. So it's very important to get that balance correct. But then, yes, the communal areas, if you can then create them, with a high enough quality that you can encourage people to come and use a membership model, that's going to be all additional income for you.
So what we've seen is buildings where there's sort of a hybrid or a blend. So there might be a floor that's leased, and then there might be a floor that's co-working and a floor that's serviced offices. Is that something that you've took into any of your buildings?
Yeah, we do that on all the in all the buildings. So our sort of standard licenses are 12 months, but we also then have arrangements for 2 years, 3 years. We have some tenants on 5 years. So that sort of blend is I think it's far more healthy from a financial perspective.
So why do you feel these co-working spaces have become so popular?
You've got two perspectives. You've got from the landlord or you've got from the tenant. So from the landlord, I think it's slightly a case of FOMO with they're doing a new development. They don't want to feel like they're missing out on a trend. But then actually in reality, certainly from a tenant perspective, that it enables you to be able to have, say, an office for 4 people, when actually you might have a team of 6 or 8. But then what you can do is sort of stagger those days. We have that in quite a few of our buildings where the actual total number of employees, far exceeds, their actual size of their office, but they'll stagger them. And then if there are 2 or 3 people over, actually those people might work out of the co-working areas, in the communal areas.
So it's fair to say then, Ed, that what we're seeing is a flight to quality and really developers and employers having to deliver and offer a best-in-class office environment.
Yeah, that's right.